Hello everyone. So this is a new video and first video we are trying about. So we are going to discuss about the new era of currency, which is Bitcoin. So here we have Mr. Raghuram Murthy. So he will share his views with you, all of you guys. Yeah, handing over to Mr. Raghu.
Yeah, thank you, Sai. Today, let us discuss about what is Bitcoin and what are the problems it is trying to solve, and any questions you may have. Um, yeah, so a small disclaimer before we start. So basically, this is not a financial advice. So I'm not responsible for any investments that you make, money you make, or money you lose. So don't take it as financial advice, but take only as some kind of informational. And second disclaimer, these are my own, the views that I am discussing in this meeting are my own understandings, are my own opinions. Uh, and I'm happy to change my learnings if someone comes up with the right proof. I'm open to that. Yeah, so with this, we can start about Bitcoin. Let me start my screen.
Okay. Yeah, please, everyone, please note that disclaimer. So we are doing is as part of learning. We are trying to learn and we are trying to share our knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before understanding Bitcoin, first we want to understand what is money, right?
Yes.
So first of all, what is money and what is the evolution of money? Uh, so let's look at the evolution of money. So initially, in very olden days, right? So we used to have barter system. So what does this mean? So basically, people used to exchange goods. So there is a person, right? And there is another person here. And this guy has clothes, and this guy has pots, right? And he wants to buy some pots, so he gives him clothes, and this guy gives him back pots. So this is called barter system. So people used to exchange goods. Similarly, someone has chicken, someone has rice, so they exchange both, and that's how they used to make trades in very olden days. But as you see here, there is a clear problem. It's not very convenient, right? So if you want to buy parts, you need to take a lot of clothes. You need to carry a lot of clothes or whatever you have, parts, rice, chicken, whatever you have, you need to carry a lot to the market. And carrying that itself is painful. And trading it is again painful. For example, you want to buy parts, that person might not accept clothes, right? And you have only clothes. And you might have to find another person which accepts cloths and gives back some rice, and this parts guy might accept only rice. So you need to find some middleman to exchange these goods. So this is not very convenient and not very uh, easy to make trades, but this is where people have started making trades. And after that, we made it simplified using currencies. So in king's days, basically, say coins, right? They used to be coins made with gold. So after this barter system, people found gold. So gold is a metal which is basically people found it valuable. We'll discuss about why it is valuable later, but people saw value in gold, and because gold is very valuable and very dense in very small quantities, it became much convenient for people to carry gold instead of goods. So in the king's days, kings used to print their currency using gold coins, and anyone can forge that, but as long as it is gold, it is it is good to trade. So this removed a lot of problems, like you don't need to carry a lot of stuff, and everyone accepts gold, right? But this also has some problems, right? storing a lot of wealth in gold is so it can be stolen, and storing it somewhere can be not very convenient. And if you want to buy very small things, you cannot use gold. For very small things, the gold value is too much and it's not very comfortable. So you need to always buy only big things. So after that, in modern days, we came up with currency notes to solve these problems. But in the initial days, when government started these currency notes, they backed this with gold. So what does this mean? Means if they have to print 1 crore rupees, first they save 1 crore rupees worth of gold in some locker, and only then they print 1,000 crore rupees. If they don't have gold, they won't print the notes. So when you have a note, right, it means that there is actually somewhere in the locker, there is a gold bar.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So when you exchange, so these currency notes have become very much convenient for people to trade, right? So everyone accepts, it's easy to store. It doesn't, and it has various granularities, like it has like 1 rupee, 10 rupees, 100 rupees, and even it used to have like 1 paisa, right? So you can buy any small amount, and it was very convenient. And with the introduction of banks, with the introduction of computers, this became even more convenient. You don't need to carry the physical items. You can just do transfers electronically using your mobiles with Google Pay or Paytm or whatever. But everything is backed up by currency only, right? So if you pay money using Google Pay, it's actually making a trade in rupees, and which was actually backed by gold. This was the standard earlier, but in 1970s or so, the standard was removed. At least in US, I know that. So the president at that time, I think it was Nixon. So he removed this backing. So we just print whatever we want. We don't back this by gold. Okay. We don't back this by gold anymore. We just print it, and let's see how people will receive this. And surprisingly, this value did not go down, because it's very hard to counterfeit this, and people are already used to these currency notes, and they don't really care whether it was backed by gold or not backed by gold. As long as it is a currency note, they are good, they are accepting it. So this gold standard is gone in US, and I think in India also, maybe it's not 1-to-1. I recently read somewhere that it is still backed by gold, but it's not 1-to-1. Maybe if there is like 1 crore rupees worth of gold, they might print 5 crore rupees worth of currency notes. And we don't know exactly what is the ratio, but the RBI will decide. They make policies about this. And I don't think it is transparent to people.
Okay.
And this also has problems. So what are the problems it has? Let us see. So first of all, the government controls, right? Government controls currency.
Yes.
So this is a very big problem. If government is good, they are well educated, they make well control, but it might work. But in some countries like Zimbabwe or Venezuela recently, it was not properly controlled. So what happened there? So there people did not produce enough goods, because Venezuela was mainly relied on oil. So as long as crude oil prices were going up, they were selling that oil to other countries. They were getting money from other countries and using that money to buy goods from other countries and importing to Venezuela and giving it almost free for the people of Venezuela.
Mhm.
So that's how it was working. And when the prices were going, oil prices were going down, they used to get less and less money. So when they used to get less and less money, what they did is they used to print more and more money themselves to kind of trick people that we still have more money. Even if they were getting lesser money from outside countries, they are
Mhm.
printing more money just to trick people. We have the same amount of money. But because it is not actually useful to buy goods from other countries, the value of the currencies that they are printing is kept going down.
Mhm.
So when they used to buy like one can of milk from other country with one bolivian, I think the currency of Venezuela, and now they have to pay like 5 bolivians because they are printing more and more. The value went down, and it caused inflation. Whenever there is something very too much supply, the value goes down. So that's what happened with Venezuela, and it caused hyperinflation.
Mhm. Yes, right.
So because of this hyperinflation, the value of the currency went drastically down. So for example, assume there is a person in Venezuela, right?
Yes.
And he had like, may say, 1 lakh uh, Bolivian dollars,
Okay.
and he kept in his house, right? And
Mhm.
he thinks that, okay, this is good enough for him to live his life for 1 year,
Mhm.
for buying rice, vegetables, paying rent, etc.
Mhm.
But because the government has kept printing
Mhm.
so much money, right?
Yes.
And the value of the bolivars went down, and this 1 lakh rupees is actually worth only 100 rupees. So he could pay only 1 month rent. That's it.
Yes.
He was not able to buy rice, he was not able to buy any vegetables. So without his fault, he lost so much money. So whose fault is this? This is actually fault of the government.
Government. Yeah.
So in a way, government stole all his money
Mhm.
indirectly.
Yes.
So this is what. So that means the governments have a lot of control. People who are holding money do not have any control.
Mhm. Yeah.
And and similarly, it's not just happening in Zimbabwe or Venezuela. It's happening everywhere in the world. For example, even if you take USA. So
Yes.
what happened in 2008? There was a big recession. It was called subprime recession. So we'll not go into much details about this.
Okay.
But the very high level overview is banks give lots of loans to people for buying
Mhm.
houses.
Okay.
And people bought houses for very high prices using those loans.
Mhm.
And suddenly the housing prices crashed because there are no more buyers. Everyone
Oh.
bought, there are no more buyers. And when there are no buyers, the prices kept going down. When the
Mhm.
prices kept going down, and people did not have money to pay back to loans, to pay back to banks. So
Yes.
they just defaulted that, okay, I cannot pay, you just take the house. So
Mhm.
banks, they got only the houses, they did not get money. And
Mhm.
those houses, the banks are not able to sell at the same price. If they want to sell, they had to sell only at 50% lesser cost.
Mhm.
So banks lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And when banks lost a lot of money, so many people who saved their money in the banks lose money, right?
Yeah.
Banks cannot repay that money back to their customers. So what will happen? So the governments have to bail out the banks.
Yeah.
So
Government
how
should
do they
involve.
do?
Mhm.
Yes, government should be involved. And how do they do? So basically, what they did is they print more and more dollars and they gave it to banks for free.
Mm. Okay.
Take these dollars and pay it to your customers.
Mhm.
So the currency got diluted there, right?
Yeah. Right.
Because they print dollars just out of thin air. It called
Mm.
the value got diluted. And even if
Mm.
you see in India, right,
Yes.
there are so many banks which are actually bankrupt. If you see Vijay Mallya, right? Modi. They took thousands of crores of loans from banks, and they just left the country, right?
Yes.
And all that money came from people, right? People saved their money in banks, and the banks gave that money to these guys,
Mhm.
and they just lost all their money in their investments, and they just left. And who is losing at the end? So governments cannot, the banks cannot pay back that money to customers, right? Because they don't
Yes.
have that money anymore.
Yeah.
So now the RBI will come into the picture. What they do is they print more money and give it to banks.
Yes.
And banks use that money to pay back to customers. No customer is losing there, but if you see indirectly, everyone in the world, everyone in the country are losing.
Yeah. Right.
Because they print more money, it gets diluted.
Mhm.
If it gets diluted,
It
it's
loses value.
basically taking money from everyone's pocket in the country and giving it to the people,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
in indirect way they're giving that money to Vijay Mallya or Nirav Modi, right?
Mhm.
So that's how this the currency value is actually going down.
Yeah.
And if you see one more thing, you see 30 years back, right? 30 years back,
Maybe
we
you
have
can write in new page. It's covering actually
okay,
uh, the videos are covering it. So
okay, yeah.
yeah.
So if you say 30 years back,
Hmm.
uh, assume you have 1 gram of gold,
Yeah.
right? So using 1 gram of gold, how much rice you can buy? Maybe in say 1980 or 1990, 30 years back, 1990.
Hmm.
Maybe you could have bought maybe 10 kilograms of rice. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just
Yeah.
giving.
Let's guess something.
And you had say 100 rupees.
Okay.
Maybe you should have got same 10 kilograms of rice.
Hmm.
Right? But now in 2021, for the same 1 gram of gold, you can still probably buy 10 kilograms of rice or maybe more,
Hmm.
right? But for 100 rupees, how much rice you can buy?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 to 5, I don't
Two
know.
2 kilos. Just 2 kilos.
Yeah, just 2 kilos.
Yeah.
So if you look at assets, right, there are so many assets. Land is
Mm.
an asset, right?
Right.
Gold is an asset. Currency is an asset.
Yeah.
For example, if you use land, right? So
Mm.
land is actually not same as gold and currency. It is little different. For example, if you take some land in Karnool or in Hyderabad,
Yes.
in 1990, if you use that land, maybe you get some 100 bags of rice, but now you might get even 1,000 bags of rice. So the
Yes.
value of land is increasing, the value of gold is increasing, but why the currency value is decreasing? Did anyone think about it? Everyone is increasing.
Yeah.
Why this
Exactly.
is increasing, right? When people are increasing in 30 years, there are like the population is almost like doubled,
Yes.
and because these resources are very limited, gold is limited. We cannot just print gold out of
Mm.
thin air. Land, we cannot create more land, and the people are increasing, so the demand increases and the supply is same,
Mm.
so the value increases. But the same is not happening to currency because governments are tricking us.
Mm.
So when one new people born, they are printing two 2 rupees more, something like that.
Okay.
So they're printing more money than the demand. So that's why the currency value is going down.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem is observed by some people and some computer programmers, especially.
Okay.
And they want to address this problem.
Yeah.
They don't want currency value to go down. So what can they do, right? So the first thing that we can do is nobody should be able to control.
Yes.
Nobody should control. We should create something which nobody should control, right?
Yeah. No governing authority. Yeah.
No governing authority. And it should have all properties of currencies.
Yeah, true.
Let us discuss about some properties of currencies.
Sure.
So it must be limited, right?
Yeah.
If it is unlimited, like a white paper, if you take white paper, if you can use white paper also as currency, where it is
Yeah.
limited, right? But here it's not limited. So
Yes.
you cannot use something which is unlimited as currency. So it must be limited.
Yes.
And it must be something called fungible. So what this means is, it doesn't matter what currency, it doesn't matter what 100 rupees note it is. It
Okay.
could be just brand new, just printed today, or it could be something which printed like 100 years back.
Okay.
As long as it is 100 rupees note, they both have equal value,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So the same thing will not applicable to some of the goods, like maybe you can actually use bananas also as currency, but one banana is not same as other banana. It could have different weight. It could be one is rotten, one is fresh. So, and even land is also not fungible. For example, land in Hyderabad is not same as land in Kurnool, right?
Yeah.
And land in the middle of the city is not same as land in far from the city. So land is not fungible, but gold is fungible. 1 gram gold is same as any 1 gram gold anywhere else in the world, right?
Yeah.
So it must be fungible and it must be durable. Like bananas, we cannot use because they are not durable. They just go rotten. They just get decomposed.
Yes.
So it must be durable, right? So currency notes are very much durable, and even if it's going damaged, you can go to bank and replace it for the brand new currency. So currency notes are also durable.
Yes.
Gold is durable, land is durable, and it must be verifiable. Means it is easy to verify. If I give you a 100 rupees note, we should be immediately verify and give your goods back to me, right? For example, if you use some kind of art, right? So I can say that, okay, this art is actually painted by Leonardo da Vinci, okay? And we can use that as currency, but verifying that is very difficult.
Yeah.
Right? How to verify that it's actually drawn by Leonardo da Vinci? It takes a lot of time. It's not, it can be verifiable, but it takes a lot of time, which is not convenient, right?
Yeah.
And it must be easily transferable. So you can be easily transferred from one place to another place, right?
Okay.
So currency notes are transferable. Gold is transferable, but it's hectic. It's like physical gold you need to transfer. It takes like a lot of effort, time, security you need, right? So we need to, so the computer programs who actually created Bitcoin wanted to create a currency which has all properties of currency that it has today.
Okay.
Extra property that nobody should be able to control. So that's where Bitcoin is born.
So
So
Bitcoin is born to address these properties. So it should be limited, fungible, durable, verifiable, transferable. So it should possess the properties of currency.
yes,
Yes.
only then it can be treated as currency. If it doesn't have any of these properties, even one of these properties, it cannot be treated as currency.
Yeah, sure.
So how they created a Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So they use something called a decentralized technology. So what this, we already had decentralized technology even before Bitcoin. You might have heard of torrents.
Yes, right.
So how torrents work? Basically, we can download movies, softwares from one person to another person, right? So there are so many computers connected to internet, and they all connected to each other. And if this guy has one file, every other person can download it, right? And if this guy downloads, this guy also gets file. And if this guy is downloading, he gets some part of file from this guy and other part of file from this guy. So this guy also gets file. So here it is decentralized. What it means is there is no centralized authority who has this file.
Yeah.
For example, if you download a movie from YouTube, right?
Yes.
YouTube is centralized. It's centralized.
Right.
So when someone wants to download movie, it has to come from YouTube. If YouTube goes down, nobody can watch a movie, nobody can download movie. But here, there is no centralized authority. These are all like normal people like us. If this guy turns down shut down the computer, and this guy can still access file from these two guys, right? And if this guy goes down, it can be downloaded by other guy who is online. So that way, it can never be shut down. So that's what decentralized system means. Nobody has a control over it. And nobody can shut down this. So Bitcoin is created to use as a currency. Okay, it is created to use as a currency, which is decentralized. And let's look at all these properties. So it should be limited, right?
Yeah.
So it should be limited. So how Bitcoin is limited? How Bitcoin is limited because in the source code, it is hard coded that there can only be 21 million Bitcoins that can ever be created. So we'll talk more about how Bitcoins get created, but they cannot get created more than 21 million. So this is the maximum supply of Bitcoin forever.
Okay.
Just look at this. Just look at the world's population. The world's population is almost 7 billion, right? 7 billion people. Yeah, billions. 700 crores basically. And those 7 billion people have to have access to only 21 million. That's it. It cannot be more. And now just look at how this is going to work. Among these 7 billion, the number of millionaires in the world is 46 million. Of Bitcoins. A millionaire is someone who has worth more than like 7 crore rupees. So even if every millionaire in the world wants to buy one Bitcoin, they cannot buy it. So the Bitcoin can be very valuable. So if it has to be distributed across all these people, even someone having like 0.1 Bitcoin, they can be very rich when Bitcoin really gets adopted.
Right.
And it must be fungible. As I told, one Bitcoin should be same as other Bitcoin, right? So one Bitcoin, so there is no difference between Bitcoins. So one Bitcoin is same as any other Bitcoin. So there is no problem. And durable. This is a digital item. This will never go decomposed or rotten. This is durable.
Right.
And verifiable. It can be easily verifiable by anyone by looking at the blockchain. So we'll discuss more and more. And it is easily transferable. It's more transferable than government currencies. For example, you can transfer Bitcoin to anyone in the world without anyone's permission. For example, as someone in Africa can pay Bitcoin to someone in Japan without permission from anyone, without using any third-party service. As long as these two people have internet access, they can pay each other. So it's easily transferable. And it has even more properties, like it is censorship resistant. For example, if you have a bank account and government can seize your bank accounts, right?
Yes.
So it's not, the currency is not censorship resistant, but Bitcoin is censorship resistant. As long as you have Bitcoin, nobody can stop you from using that.
Okay.
And borderless. So if you use Indian rupee, it is useful only in India. If you go out of India, you cannot use it. You need to convert it to some other currency, right?
Right.
But Bitcoin is borderless.
Okay.
It is easily transferable, censorship resistant,
Mhm.
and it has some other properties. So this makes it actually can make it as better currency.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
It has only one downside. It's actually not a downside, but currently that's the only downside that people think. So, so what are the negatives, right? So there are a lot of negatives, not just one, I would say. The biggest negative is trust. Trust doesn't mean it's not secure. It is very secure. Very secure in the meaning that nobody can steal your Bitcoin. Okay, that's very
Right.
secure. But what trust means is, I have one Bitcoin. I go to another person, for example, who is selling cars, right? He has cars. And today, if I pay them like dollars, right? If I pay them like $20,000,
Okay.
this guy is his car, right?
Yes.
So he trusts this $20K, that money.
Right.
But if I give him like Bitcoin, say one Bitcoin,
Okay.
will he give the car to me?
Yeah.
So that's where the
Yeah.
trust is coming into the picture.
Right.
Because this person doesn't know whether Bitcoin is really valuable or not.
Right.
So gold is valuable, currency is valuable, but Bitcoin is still not valuable for everyone. So people don't trust it yet. But
Right.
this is changing every single day. For example, when it was started in 2009, I think the coding was started in 2009 and probably started um, creating deployment Bitcoins in 2010.
Mhm.
And today we are like 2021. Initially, how many people trusted this? Not even the developers.
Yeah.
Okay, not even the developers of Bitcoin trusted this. But only after a few months, one guy offered around 27,000 Bitcoins for one pizza.
Mhm.
So he posted in the internet that if someone sends me a pizza, I will give him 27,000 Bitcoins.
Okay.
So somewhere in US. So someone
Mhm.
from Europe ordered pizza for that guy from his
Okay.
local store.
Okay.
So he paid maybe $20 and this guy paid 27,000 Bitcoins to that person.
Right.
I think this is the first ever transaction made by Bitcoin. So the trust level was very low here, right?
Right.
But as more and people started using this, the trust keeps increasing. And there are so many companies got involved, so many exchanges got started, so many people started their careers, they started mining Bitcoin. So the trust kept increasing. But the number of people is still who trust in the whole world are very less, maybe less
Yeah.
than 0.1%,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Mhm.
So as the trust is increasing, the price is also increasing.
Right.
There is a correlation between trust and price.
Mm.
So right
Exactly.
now in 2021, there are out of 7 billion people, I don't know how many people really trust, but it is estimated that maybe 1 to 5%. 5% is actually very high. Maybe it can be less than 1% also, but around 1 to 5% is like reasonable estimate. 1 to 5% people actually trust this.
Right.
And with 1 to 5% people trusting this, the value is currently around $56,000. Right. And when it was initially started, everyone said it's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi scheme means it's a pyramid scheme, right?
Right.
You might have heard of multi-chain marketing like Amway or
Mm. Yeah.
some
Exactly.
sort of thing, right? You buy it and you make other people buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from the other people buy it, when other people spend money, you get some commission back. So that's how this multi-chain marketing works.
Right.
So people thought Bitcoin is something like this. Only when other people buy, this value increases. And some people thought it's a greater fool theory, meaning that you buy for $1,000 and you sell it to someone, you are a fool. To buy a Bitcoin for $1,000, you are a fool.
Mm.
And
Right.
there is a greater fool who buys it for $2,000. And there is another greater fool who buys it for $10,000. So as long as there is a greater fool exists, it price will keep increasing. And once we ran out of all the fools, it will just crash to zero. Okay.
Mm.
So that's what some people told. And other people compared it to tulip. There is something called tulip bubble.
Okay.
So in 1700s, I think. You know tulip, right? Tulip is a flower.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So in 1700s also in Europe, people used to just started growing tulips and they were very beautiful. And
Okay.
people started trading these tulips. If I give you one tulip, they used to give me some 10 rupees or 10 euros, right? And its price kept increasing. When its price started kept increasing, people started to do future trading also. Okay, I'm growing some tulips. How much you will pay? So its price will increase. Its price has increased drastically to thousands of dollars.
Right.
Just a flower's price.
Mm.
Just because people thought it is valuable and people just madly increased its price.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also falls under the greater fool theory. And suddenly one day, everyone realized it's just a flower. Anyone can actually make it grow. And
Yeah.
its price crashed. It grown like this price. And then it crashed suddenly. And it stayed constant, like maybe one tulip is only $1 or something like that. So people compared Bitcoin to tulips also.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has their own reasons. I don't say one is right, one is wrong.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? But it's a technology. In my opinion, it's not a flower. Okay, it's a technology. People are developing it, and
Right.
its value comes from trust, or I would say consensus. Consensus meaning people have to agree it has a value.
Yeah.
It has all the properties of the currency, but unless there is a consensus, it's not valuable.
Right.
As long as people agree, okay, I value, it has value. If everyone says it doesn't have value, it doesn't have a value.
Right.
That's where it started. But initially, it is used for illegal things. That's where it all caught up, right? So someone wants to buy some drugs. So many negative things also happen with Bitcoin. Okay, not everything is positive, right?
Yeah.
Someone
Exactly.
wanted to buy drugs online, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they cannot use wire transfers
Mm-hmm. Right.
or online payments.
Mm-hmm.
You need to manually meet the drug dealer and give the cash to buy. And you cannot actually pay online because those drug dealers won't have bank accounts.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot get bank accounts. Even if they get bank accounts, they can easily get cars, so they don't prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, Bitcoin became a kind of, what do you say? It's a gift,
Yeah.
God given. So they
Yeah.
started using Bitcoin. So now they can actually make online trades. So this guy, some guy wants to in mail, right? And this guy doesn't have to know who is the drug dealer. And these guys are very safe.
Okay.
That's where it all started.
Yeah.
And it used even for very bad things, like someone wants to kill some guy and they hide one hitman online by paying him. That guy comes and kills this guy. So many negative illegal things has happened. So people thought Bitcoin is only for this. Bitcoin is used only for illegal things.
Mm-hmm.
But this is actually created for different purpose. And the creator's argument is everything is used for illegal, right? Here, internet is also used for illegal. Doesn't mean that you ban internet, right?
Right.
And here, the computers are used for illegal. The Windows operating system is used for illegal things. So similarly, it's also used for illegal thing, but doesn't mean you ban this. So that's the argument of the Bitcoin community. But for some reason, governments don't like this Bitcoin because they don't have control anymore.
It loses control. Yeah.
They lose the control. So they cannot print, for example, in this case of bailing banks, and whenever these guys elope country like Vijay Mallya, so they cannot, governments cannot help. And governments even cannot actually create more money out of thin air. So they lose control of currency. And that's the primary goal of the Bitcoin, the developers' primary goal, and governments don't like it. So some governments have banned it. For example, Pakistan has banned it, and India also originally has banned it, but it was not according to law. So Supreme Court has actually removed that ban. And right now, there are so many discussions happening in the parliament how to actually regularize this. So in USA, it is not banned. So let's talk about USA. So it is treated as asset as of now. So it doesn't mean that it won't be banned. It can be banned in USA also, nobody knows. But I don't think they take decision like very easily. Like in USA, there are more than 10% people own Bitcoin. So it's a huge number.
Yeah.
So if they ban it, 10% of the people actually lose money. So they won't actually take drastic decision. So what they're doing is they are treating it as asset. Meaning it's just like another asset like gold or some kind of shares. So all the tax laws which apply to gold or shares will apply to Bitcoin also. So that's how it is currently regularized, and it's being discussed more and more what exactly to do with this, because they don't have control anymore. And India is also discussing, but its popularity is growing every single day. Earlier, for example, in 2013 or even 2017, there are many banks, like very big banks like Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. They all said Bitcoin is a scam, it doesn't have any value, it's a greater fools theory. But now, even PayPal, and now everyone is supporting Bitcoin. How they are supporting? PayPal is actually allowing their customers to buy Bitcoin. It is going to allow their customers to pay merchants using Bitcoin. So PayPal actually has merchants and customers. So customers can pay to merchants for buying goods through PayPal, and it's going to allow Bitcoin. Right now, customers can buy and sell Bitcoin from PayPal, but eventually it's going to allow their customers to pay merchants using Bitcoin. And Goldman Sachs is some kind of investment firm. So it is going to allow their customers to buy and invest in Bitcoin. Similarly, Morgan Stanley. So, and there is an exchange called Robinhood. It's a very popular exchange in stock market, not exchange, I would say. It's a stock market broker. It is allowing its customers to buy cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, etc. So its popularity is growing, and there are companies like Tesla recently bought Bitcoin. Tesla has some cash, right? Every company has some cash reserves.
Yes.
But recently, because of this coronavirus situation, governments are printing more and more money because people lost jobs, right? They want they want to help people. So how can they help people? They're just printing money, giving the money for free for people. So they're just diluting the value of dollar, and people are using that money to buy their goods. So the value is going down. And if Tesla, right, Tesla has some USD in its bank account, and it needs to use its money to buy some what do you call raw goods, right, to make cars. So they may not be able to buy same value of raw goods from their USD, right? Because its value goes down. In 2020, if you can buy maybe say 100 raw goods, maybe after all this inflation in 2022, they might buy only 60 raw goods. So if they keep their money in USD, its value might go down.
Right.
So what they did is they converted, I think 15% of their USD into Bitcoin.
Okay.
So when they bought, the Bitcoin was around 35K, and now it is 56K. So now they can buy more raw goods,
Yes.
right? Even if that 56K is actually worth only 50K in US dollars, I mean, because of the inflation, it's still more than 35K,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So Tesla is actually bought Bitcoin, and there are many other companies. MicroStrategy is one investment firm. I think this holds so many Bitcoins.
Okay.
So, so, so its popularity is growing. Even banks, investment firms, other companies are actually buying Bitcoin.
Mhm.
So even people are buying Bitcoin, its value is growing. So the trust is increasing.
Yeah.
But anything can happen. Governments are more powerful, and they can do anything. So that's one argument. The other argument, there is a counter argument for that also. Some people say government actually can't really do anything, because they say they show some examples. For example, in Pakistan, they banned it, but its popularity has increased in Pakistan after they banned it. Now, more and more people are buying. Even if it is illegal, people are still buying and using. For example, if you ban food, if you ban rice, right, and if you say only eat wheat, you cannot really ban that, because people are used to it. It's useful for people. They can just buy it, whatever means they can.
Mhm.
So in the same way, Bitcoin is very useful. People are still buying. Its popularity is growing, irrespective of ban. That's one argument.
Mhm.
The second argument they say is, not all countries agree on one thing. For example, if USA bans it, then Russia will embrace it. Then Russia says, okay, I will allow, because they're all like competing countries, right? And this is a technology. If one people say no, other countries says yes. They want to attract the talent.
Right.
If India says no, Switzerland says yes. Okay, everyone come here. I will allow. So it cannot be banned across all the countries. It's already made legal in some countries already. Um, like small countries, I don't remember right now, but it's actually made legal. In USA,
Okay.
it is still a gray area,
Mhm.
and in Canada, it is like, in Canada also, it's um, yeah, it is currently being traded in stock market also in Canada.
Okay.
So in USA also, there are so many applications filed
Mhm.
for the stock market authority. There is something called SEC.
Mhm.
So it's a government entity which is responsible for, yeah, it's a government entity which is responsible to give all these permissions. So there are so many applications to that entity to allow stock market trading for Bitcoin. So they might allow this one also. So it might become legal soon. I mean,
Yes.
more and more legal soon. So everything adds up to the trust, as we were discussing. As the
Right.
trust increases, the price value increases.
Mhm.
So do you have any questions so far?
So as of now, no questions.
Mhm.